This episode 3. Going through the image directory and looking at pictures. I asked a lot of people if they wanted to be on it, but nobody wants to be on it.
Well, it is 8 a.m.
But it is 8 a.m., but I think mostly they use poop heads. Ashley is up, and she says she wants to work on her twine game and stuff to do it.
I can't hear you, and also I have no clue why you're calling me this early.
Oh, Sandy, hello. Wow, it's weird that you answer the phone.
I just woke up. I'm just trying to find out if it's urgent.
This is a live hangout on air. I just invited a bunch of people because I hoped at least somebody would show up to it. I'm on LSD.
That's nice. I think perhaps I should I think I'm gonna go and call you later since I don't really feel like being on air at 8 a.m.
Sorry, I understand. Nobody's
How do
watching.
I close this dang thing?
You can't.
Oh, there it is. I figured it out.
Alright. Wait, okay, is she go? Is she gone? She left. Well, that was weird. Ugh. You don't have to be on it. It's me on a screen share. It's just really audio part. Lemmer says that he doesn't want to be on it because he looks like a mess. He doesn't have all his makeup on him. Whatever. Oh my god. Everybody's so useless. Ugh. Alright, fine. Pray will edit this part. I'm just gonna start looking at images. So here we have the first image in the directory. We're gonna go by date modified, even though that's not very accurate anymore. You should read them.
All right, so the guy's in the closet. Obviously, this businessman. Why am I explaining this? It's obvious. It's just a stupid New Yorker cartoon. We need a plan for making our plan. Then we need to plan the plan's planny plan.
Have you seen this man? Sigh. There goes another employee of the month.
Yeah, this is mostly old PBC comics that aren't done anymore. Oh my god. What is this? This stupid comic does not anymore. There's a terrible one about Bolivia. Vincent made this one. He broke all the rules.
By what name do you name yourself, boy? I am one half of the duo known as Leg, and Momer. I likewise constitute one bipart of the doublet known by the moniker Leg, and Momer. They call me Badger.
That went nowhere. Nope. This is all part of playing comics. A flow chart. Pretty funny. Pretty gosh darn funny. It's not. It isn't really. This is a terrible podcast so far. You should probably cut all this out and just get to the good part if there is one.
I don't think there will be one.
Yeah. Should we stop recording it?
Maybe.
What is this?
I don't know. I don't know what that is.
this is how we feel. Says blog quality, and the graph goes down, and yeah,
These blast points. Too accurate for sand people.
get
Why is Joan Arbuckle there?
I don't know. Blexen made that.
Who made this?
I don't know. Somebody on dump.fm. There's a bunch of our comics and no one ever reads. Or if they do, they don't give us any feedback on it, or if they do, that's stupid. I don't know what they want, but I never get it.
There's a graph of types of computer sold over time. Amiga, Atari, PC is the big line here. Macintosh. These are all early computers that didn't work out, and then these are the new ones. And tablets and phones and whatnot.
Yep. There's how many people is in jail. Oh well.
It's the Solway Spaceman. A picture taken in England. This little girl, and this guy shows up in the background of it, and nobody who was there remembers him being in the field. I added that red arrow. Just graph showing that Ashley is primarily a girl's name. Here's an old graph of when these pictures were saved from about 2012, showing the date on the vertical axis, or sorry, the time along the vertical axis and the date on the horizontal, and you can see that it's scattered with not as many here on the AM, mostly at night or in the evening, and there's some stripes of heavy image saving. One here, I think this was essentially just downloading a bunch of mostly garbagey, stupid images from Google image search to try and fulfill some kind of deranged website making project that we had at the time.
Turkey.
Yeah, some sort of recursive bento table thing. Really, it's something that probably a lot of people wish still survived in a functional version, but which we haven't really had it together to preserve or haven't cared enough to. How much randomly polled men and women would pay, or would have to be paid to have sex with a stranger? Women charge more than men, you can see. Both bell curves. Stupid panel from that comic, which no longer updates, sadly, though I do like it. Declining fertility for a selection of majority Muslim countries. Mostly graphs, I guess. When is the future? Who cares? So then Pop Bear said, I'm turning off the internet except for 1 hour a day. An hour a day? What? I thought these books were supposed to be for kids. This is terrifying. You got this at school? Never understood why you would burn a book. Now I get it. Son, what Papa Bear is doing is child abuse. Brother and Sister Bear need to call the Bear Police. Here's a graph of word ladders with 5 letters. Those are 6 letters. Here's an expanded view of the central component of the 6-letter ones. If you don't know what graph theory is, you probably didn't follow any of that, but I don't care. This is a graph of... I have no idea what this is a graph of. And the file name is just funny graph with funny misspells. Most famous artist of all time, world artwork by ever popular top art.jpg. It's from a series of automatically generated pictures by some artist who was working with like artist spam or spam is art or something. I don't remember his name. Time to get critical, say gold. A graph of peaks and troughs in the intensity of music over time by the real Simon McClure, going from minimal to high atmosphere, disco to 80s power ballads, and dropping down house up to trance, down to UK garage, up to funky house, down to dubstep to electro, down to trap in 2013. And he has the time axis distorted in the opposite direction from how it actually is. If you space these out in a reasonable manner, it would show the graph getting more and more frenetic. I have no idea if this sawtooth pattern or the acceleration of it is accurate at all. I have no sense of musical genres or when any music was released. He would know better than I, being a club DJ in London. Conway's Game of Life.
This is a nice picture.
Tearing through the paper walls of time, which is a line from Sweet Charity by Mr. Bungle. There's graphs of personality characteristics. MBTI stuff. Seems like there's something there, in particular with EEG scans of different brain regions, but research is frustratingly incomplete or in its infancy. To his credit, the guy who was working on it had changed his focus to developing a cheap, mass-producible EEG cap such that larger data sets could be gathered. I don't remember his name. I wonder what came of that. Something we should circle around and check in on again at some point, I guess. Stupid idea for a moving city. There's a fake magic card. It's not funny unless you play Magic, so I'm not going to read it. A fake screen cap from Netflix. You're watching Time Teen. A stupid rip in the space-time whatever transports some girl who the hell knows how far into some lame-ass future where everything is so full of bullshit she literally cannot even believe it. I would watch that.
Me too.
Yeah, and we asked Fungi this if you watched the previous episode, which really surprises me that anyone did. There's a question in that as to whether or not this was from a Fungi game. It was. Though he doesn't remember which one.
There's a map of an iceberg breaking off, and it broke off, and then it floated. It floated and broke up, and it floated over to here.
Yes. Why do we have a screenshot of this?
Keyboard layout, sheet 9, eigenvectors, what.cd, aperture science, no borders, Cenozoic. I have no idea. That it must be part of like a batch conversion of screenshots or something. But how it ended up here in the directory isolated like this, I don't know. This date modified. Oh, just redacted. A lot of dates are redacted, but I figure it's okay as long as it's thumbnailed. It's not going to trigger anybody.
It's not redacted because it might trigger somebody.
It might, though. It's triggering me right now, to be honest.
Time zones. Antarctica looks funny when colored by time zone.
Yeah. Models of the process of consciousness from Buddhism.
Cognitive process is active because of the force of greed, hatred, and delusion, or non-greed, non-hatred, and non-delusion. In between cognitive processes, the mental stream cannot stop. So what maintains the continuity of consciousness? Rebirth, death. Bhavanga consciousness arises between two cognitive processes in order to maintain the continuity of consciousness of existence between birth and death. It is the passive phase of consciousness as compared to the cognitive process.
Yeah, this is the interesting thing about Buddhism is that when you really get into it pretty deep, instead of being a bunch of stuff that seems like it revolves around some sort of stupid metaphysical theater with angels and demons and so on, it just becomes like really technical and esoteric and like just stuff that's sort of in between and doesn't have a moral dimension to it at all or anything like that.
IDOR cognitive process. When no active cognitive process is taking place, the Bhavanga Sita flows on one after another continuously. At that moment, when a visible object impinges on the eye sensitivity and Bhavanga simultaneously, the series of 17 moments of consciousness called IDOR cognitive process runs as follows. 5 more cognitive process, IDOR cognitive process. Chart 2. Process freed. Object, visible object. 14 moments of consciousness act as cognitive process. And from 9 to 15, wholesome and unwholesome karma are performed at the Javana stage. The visible object and eye sensitivity perish together with RG consciousness. Note, each circle represents one conscious moment. The 3 bullets below each circle represent the sub-moments of each conscious moment, arising, static, and dissolution. Key, past Vavanga. B, vibrating Vavanga. A, arrest Bhavanga. F, 5-door adverting consciousness. E, I consciousness. RC, receiving consciousness. I, investigating consciousness. D, determining consciousness. J, Javana. RG, registering consciousness. B, Bhavanga.
Ta-da. Is there any truth to that? I don't know. I don't fucking know. Somebody with like an MRI machine and stuff should look into it, but nobody does because they're all a bunch of stupid shitheads.
Well, yeah, pretty much.
This is a model of why ideas of negative mass don't work correctly. Foul space, cellulose, and plants. I just thought this was pretty. The rest, this one is more important. This is like greenest men and bluest women and reddest children, and this is the different formats of the frequency of the thing. And I don't know, it's not the best graph still. That one is redacted. This I might have forgotten. This is a comic.
Magnus, Jay and the girl who plays Sarah having another fight over dressing rooms or something is the script. Oh my god.
There's a conversation from these people about us, but Ashley says,
Flimsy Parkins messaged me this morning using new AIM. AOL finally made him get it. He sent me a line from under the sea because it was one of the things in his logs that I seem to hate. I logged on to AIM at Nick's laptop and told Flimsy it was a draining, gut-wrenching to have to receive a text message from him. Her exact words were, it's a gut-wrenching, draining, what was it? Receiving a text message from Flimsy Parkins as a gut-wrenching, draining sensation. Anyway, she's just pacing herself talking in a log from years ago. And Ben says, why such a reaction? She says, I think it was just afraid of people. Also, our relationship as real human beings was somewhat less concrete at that point. I mostly pasted that because he mentioned it in here not long ago. I was surprised to find I journaled it in the same words. Do you feel you have a concrete relationship as real humans now? And Watkins says, well, not now that he's dead, but how did you feel about your relationship a week ago? I think we owe it to Jack's elf ghost to do what he would have wanted the Synod to do. After all, he was its heart and soul and the real founder, regardless of who started the hangout. And what he would want is for us to carry on with the creative project as a team, and as if he'd never been here. And then he would want us to fail. And then he would want us to say, Jack was right. Everything we wanted to do really was stupid. We should have done what he said. And then die.
that's pretty accurate. I read this one too.
We've gathered here to remember Magnus Norgard. I didn't know him, so I'll leave it to you. Let me just say he was a firm believer in the cartoonist, whatever good that does.
Thank you, Father. When I walked into his office last Tuesday, I found him hanging from the ceiling. Nobody knows why he killed himself. He didn't leave a note. We had recently shot a strip where a character committed suicide in the same manner, so clearly it was on his mind, but no one had any idea he was always difficult to read. Magnus's death means the death of his comic, which was not only a brilliant work of art that gave meaning to the lives of everyone who worked on it, including me, but, according to King Ludolf, as Magnus shared with me in private conversation, shielded our world from an otherwise inescapable madness, absorbing the cartoonist's destructive impulses like the portrait of Dorian Gray. Without him, our world will collapse into chaos. Remember the props department? Imagine how long we'll last when something like that happens every single day. Ashley is here now, says Watkins. I'll be back in a few minutes. It'll give you a chance to weep openly. Dude on the bus is staring at me intently. Someone have my back if the shit gets real? Guess he doesn't know how many fifth graders I've beaten up. Bottom, I don't know whether it's insensitive to be cavalier or stupid to be somber, but I'm sorry I ran out Jack, Ashley. And Ashley says, sorry, I was just reading all of that intermittently. Obviously nobody ran out Jack. I didn't sob, presumably because I was eating gummy worms the whole time.
Gummy worms.
Here's another quote from Ida Fuzikon. It was all faked. Others claim that I'm an android the CIA put in my place after they murdered me, but I claim that I'm still Robert Anton Wilson and not an android impersonating Robert Anton Wilson. Bob Wilson, 8th November 1996. There never was a Hitler or a Winston Churchill. It was all faked.
What do you keep pointing at, Nemi? My neck hurts. I shall consume everything.
That turns out to be a quote from Majora's Mask.
Yes. There's a pretty good picture.
Is it? Is a collage. I guess as good as collages go.
There's a timeline of the movie Primer. Yep. Image macros. There's a tracing I did. Oh, there's Ben Franklin's pansy scheme. Isn't that good? And I'm going to read it to you because, well, I don't think it's so funny. It's something Jude said one time. This is the 3 books. It represents the creeds strips of Poor Plain Comics.
I don't know that it does.
His stupid part from Superman and Murdash triangles. Here's this without it being faded out so you can see the whole thing. This is very good. It's pretty.
Yeah. There's page 26 from Maze in it.
Yep. Among other things. There's level 2 from Lemmings.
Is that level 2? It's not level 2. It's the one that's identical to level 2, but you have different stuff. Just like they're digging and exploding.
Oh, you're right. There's level 1 from Tell of the Jungle. This weird secret area that goes to nowhere particularly. In the bottom of the spike pit. So it's very dangerous to get to. But very good comic. And this is from a very good dream that we had about House of Leaves. Giant theater that was dark and has this huge grey curtain that just went up and fell into blackness. And the master of the house was over there looking at it. He was bored. And you were afraid of him even though you knew it was a dream.
Yeah, it was weird because it was like a part in the book that wasn't really in the book. It was sort of like off to the side of the events happening in the book. So it felt as though we weren't supposed to be there.
You're afraid of him in the same way you're afraid to look in the mirror because you are him.
You think so? This is Doodles by the cartoonist of Luann, trying to figure out how to deal with 9/11. Luann, America will prevail. Boys, pimples, and terrorism. What a drag. Too flippant. Reuben Award-winning cartoonist Greg Evans.
I don't think that's real.
It's real. It's real, everybody. This is real.
It actually is real. Pitches for new food pyramid guidelines from various different food manufacturers.
Yes. What the hell is this now?
That's the JPEG comment from that picture you saw earlier about the iceberg. Why it's its own picture, I can't really explain that either.
What the fuck is this?
I don't know. Stop swearing. Oh, this is about 9/11. Nobody cares. That's redacted.
Alright. That's pretty good.
Yeah, why is it red?
To make things red. This I made red.
You're dead.
This.
That's redacted.
Right.
Here's our first comic ever.
Yes. It's got soup in it. And this. Push up the corner. There, Jack. Here's a good one. Read this one.
And when I woke up this morning, I was still frightened. My mind still looping around, trying to turn and look at itself. but never quite quick enough or nimble enough. And I started to feel sick. And I left the house. Everywhere was covered in a fog. I walked over the field to the bus stop. I became lost in it. I could see nothing but fog, no end to the field. 100 seagulls walking around, cawing and screeching into the silence. And it was like the end of the world. And everyone was gone. I missed my bus. Just sat there in the damp grass, wondering how I would ever know if I was insane, now that I was all alone.
That's by David Guy. You may recall from the earlier one if you looked at it. Which you might have if you were Alex, but probably not otherwise. That's the re-edited one of Harvey Picar. His operator. Recognize her. This is the CCT game that we made from a dream that we had.
Yes.
Those are redacted. Oh, here's some more that we forgot to read to Ben and Ashley the other day. Why does Ashley want to make her stupid twine game instead of talking to us?
Oh, maybe she's just really into it.
Very focused.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Here's this one we made. I was really scared this day.
You were scared.
I was scared. Calmly talking to Susie about her name. I feel like it's too sinister. But my own is not ideal either. It's mainly the nobody suspects part that's it's very unpleasant. This is a reference to the song Susie is the title of. It's sort of her theme song. To not only be paranoid, but to have the person who can empathize with your paranoia be the person you're paranoid of. Also, to internally be a different person who's super duper scary is not really ideal. Well, I mean, there are things about it I like as well. I wonder if Matt is right, that me personally, actually am ethereal.
Matt doesn't actually believe that. I should note it's just a paranoid delusion that he had while meditating one time. And he tried to tell the rest of the synod, but he couldn't because the power was out and the messages never went through on his phone.
I guess I am when I'm working in MS Paint. That's what the A key does. That's the key to the game, is to be the bride. That's such a shitty twist. I feel like the movie's ending now, but let's just check the background music. Don't Do It by Aperture Science Psychoacoustics Laboratory. There, I changed it to The House by John Williams from Home Alone. I like this better already. Let's update BPC with this very image. That will make things more stable, hopefully. Oh, this isn't a comic. There, that's better. Hi, everybody. I am Jack, the real actual author. Now, you might say, that's bullshit. Jack wouldn't put himself in the comic. He'd never do that. Actually, you'd probably say, why do you look like Andrew from Adventure Kids? Well, now I look like big inside joke. Turns out oh wait, this needs to be redacted.
Yeah, this is redacted stuff needs redacted. And it's also very insane, too. Boy, that was really creepy, though, and it said don't do it, and you changed it to The House by John Williams from Home Alone, and because unconsciously you knew what that meant. It's like dun dun dun. It felt like everything that you did was inescapably leading you down this dark and terrifying, into your doom.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It was pretty cinematic, I have to say. It's one of the things I miss about the Psychosis. The non-psychotic, sane way of living is very boring.
At least you have no one to talk to like now.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. I don't know. I never really feeling into this too much. How long has this been?
I don't know. Not too long, I don't think. It's like half an hour.
That's probably long enough then. I mean, these things, podcasts are supposed to be about half an hour, aren't they?
Yeah. I don't actually remember when we started recording, though. You would think it would tell you somewhere.
Yeah. It doesn't, though.